welcome to another video, and thanks for choosing my channel. We're gonna do an acrylic landscape painting today, and it's gonna be a night sky, lots of stars, wintry landscape. You will see a photograph of a finished painting up there and the list of colors to the left, and you will see my palette to the right. Alright, and if you like to follow this video and create the same thing, you like this painting, you like the design and composition, I recommend starting with a flat brush and some sort of soft mop brush or a blender brush, because we need it to create a soft transition around the moon. Any blender brush would do, and any flat brush, if you have bigger flat brushes, something like this, that would do as well. And I also recommend, if you're working with acrylics, pre-mix your colors. I have ultramarine blue and white over here, and ultramarine blue and a touch of black, a bit darker value in this cup. I'm gonna go ahead, mist the canvas with a mister bottle. And we're gonna go ahead, paint around the moon. Now if you go into the moon, it doesn't matter. That's just, that sketch is just there to guide us, that's all. So I'm gonna start with this value of that color. I want to get a very good coverage here. And I'm just going to go over it just like that. Get some even coverage over here. And then I'm going to go ahead, switch to my darker value and paint around that lighter area. You don't need to work super fast, but this is something that you have to be a little bit quick, because that paint is going to dry any minute. Pick up your blender brush and just go ahead and tap. Just like that. And get a good blend. You need to repeat the process a few times. A bit more of that darker color. Gonna put it up there as well. A bit lighter value. And again, with the corner of that brush, I'm just going to go ahead and tap and create a nice blend here. As you see, the second time it worked a bit better. And just tap, tap, tap. Get the excess paint off of your brush and go over it again. Now you can go back to that lighter value and go over it again. You could do this few times until you get the desired effect. And just tap very lightly. Notice I don't do crisscross motion, just tap very soft. Now if you want to be a little bit lighter around your moon, just choose a lighter value of that blue. You know, you want to create more drama. Alright, so with that done, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my darker blue and just go ahead, do the rest of the sky. We're gonna have trees over here, so I'm trying to preserve some of that sketch. And I'm gonna go ahead, paint the rest of the sky. There is no perfection needed here. Just go ahead and cover the canvas. I'm gonna pick up some white, and we're gonna go ahead and paint our moon. And I'm going to use some gray as well. I'm working with a round brush. I'm going to start introducing some of that gray randomly in some of the areas around the moon. I'm working with acrylic paint, so if you're watching this demonstration, you're working with oil, you know, some of the techniques has to be modified, and it really works differently. With acrylic you have to work in layers, so oftentimes one coat of paint does not result in a finished painting. With oil you can do that. That's the good thing about oil, but in acrylic you have to work in layers. Alright, now for our stars you could do a couple of techniques. You could use a toothbrush or even a fan brush. Get some paint on your fan brush and just splatter some paint around just like that, and instantly you can create hundreds of stars in your painting. The one thing I don't like about this technique is that you have no control over it. So you do that, and then you could splatter so much paint on your canvas, and then you have to go ahead and fix the whole thing, and I don't like to do that, especially when I'm filming these videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up my liner brush, a touch of blue. I don't want to pick up a straight white, touch of blue, and then I'm gonna come over here, a few spots wherever I see an imperfection, I'll put a star. And I have to be careful not to touch my moon. As you see, maybe even a bit more blue, that white, something like that. With this technique, yes, it takes more time, but I have control over it. You know, I put my stars wherever I want them to be. And when you put your stars in the horizon, just do a very light tap because they look smaller the horizon, and some of these things you may not even see on the camera as I'm applying here and there. Alright, now I'm gonna switch to my fan brush and we're gonna work on the trees. I'm gonna pick up some black. I'm gonna pick up some of that ultramarine blue. We basically going to make a darker value of it. And I'm gonna go ahead, work on those distancy looking trees in the back, and then we're gonna come to the foreground. I'm gonna paint them the same way, but the highlight will be different. So this one in the back not gonna get much highlights. A bit more black. And not much details either. Same colors, a bit more blue. I'm gonna come here and drop few trees. Not this one. It's a bit closer, so we're gonna go ahead, actually indicate few branches and we're gonna have some distancy bushes around here. And I'm gonna go ahead, paint this one. Same idea. And just go ahead, same idea. And we have two more over there, same idea. I'm gonna do it, but let's do a few more over here. Maybe we do one big one here. Just use the corner of the brush. Alright, so done with the trees. I'm gonna pick up a small brush. This is number 2, round brush. Some of that ultramarine blue, some of that white. We're gonna make it dark color, but lighter than this. And we're gonna go ahead and highlight these trees in the distance. Just a bit, not so much, not too much details on these trees, just like so. A few highlights here and there. Now as you move down on these trees to the base of these trees, really not so much highlight, because even the moonlight doesn't get there. So a bit lighter color, a bit more of that white, and ultramarine blue. Same brush. I'm going to work on these trees. So I'm going to show you a few of these trees and a couple of these trees, but the rest is basically same idea. Highlight, applying the mid-tone for these trees. We don't want to spend so much time doing same thing over and over and over. The moonlight is here, so this side is probably going to get more of a highlight. I'm going to go ahead with the mid-tone right now. Just leave some dark in between, Don't cover the whole tree with this color. Don't kill all that dark that we applied. Just like so. And this one as well, same idea. Once you do one or two of these trees, the rest is just repetitious work. And just really busy work. You have to be patient and just go ahead and do these things, one by one. Some of this bushes is gonna get the mid-tone as well. Back to this tree, applying the mid-tone. As you see, I'm really doing this very randomly. We're not trying to, demonstrate individual branches or tree or pine needles, or weighing the distance, snow covered. Let's make more of that color. Let's do one of these things in the foreground over here. Like so. I'm just impression of snow sitting on these branches. Like so. A bit more of that blue and white, and we're going to continue. Alright, so we're done with the mid-tone for these trees. Now I'm going to take some of that ultramarine blue, white, this time a bit more white. We're going to make a much lighter value of that blue, or we don't want to use a straight white, but much lighter value. So here we go. So assuming that these trees and these trees are getting the moonlight, we're gonna go ahead and highlight the trees accordingly. And really we are painting the impression of snow. And even though I'm not using a straight white, you see how the contrast works. You really don't have to use a straight white. I think we can even use a bit darker value of that blue. Yeah, darker value of that. And I'm just imagining how these branches will look like, you know, carrying the snow. I'm not painting from a reference photo, so you want to create your dream world, you have to either dream it or picture it in your head. Let the paint break and preserve some of that dark. That's the only trick with these trees. Once you get the technique right, I mean, if you like to, I'm assuming that you like to use this technique. There are other techniques, but once you, if you like to choose this technique, once you get it right, you could, you know, just go ahead and perfect it yourself and work simultaneously, you know, apply some white, some blue here and there, impression of the shadow color, you know, highlight color, and you can do these trees very quickly. And same idea for these trees, not, you know, so much highlight for the one in the back. Just change the value of that blue. And they're going to be dark over there. Just smooth some of that color, some of that paint rather. And same idea here. If you do this painting at home, you decide, you know, how many trees you want to put in your painting and which one is going to get highlighted. Just don't do it all over. A bit more here and there. I'm going to pick up a filbert brush, lots of that ultramarine blue, a bit black, and I'm going to come over here and just go ahead and lay the land here. Now all these things is going to get highlighted, obviously. I'm going to paint the impression of snow here. Just going to lay the land. And make lighter value of that blue. Just like so. We're gonna lay the land over here. And just soften it a bit. And I'm gonna continue with the ultramarine blue, a touch of black, and just go ahead, maybe some of that lighter blue. Just go ahead and create some impression of bushes, you know, small bumps on the land, and soften the whole thing, make them look like a part of the landscape, and drop this color all over the canvas over here. There's no perfection here, just gonna cover the area. I'm gonna pick up some white, some of that blue. I'm gonna come over here and just indicate a few streaks of lighter blue. Create some impression of the moonlight hitting this area and these bushes. Just like that. Maybe a darker blue for maybe this area. Maybe these trees are casting some shadows in here. You could use your blender brush to just tap and get rid of any hard transition. Just soften. Just go a bit lighter over here, like so. And that would be the extent of details on this snow-covered land. Now if you wanted to add some other elements in here, like maybe a tree, you could, you know. But I'm gonna keep it simple. And some of that blue. And my blender brush. Just soften any hard edges. Keeping all the brush strokes this way. Just softening these things. We're gonna move to the cabin and the trees next to it. It's gonna be very simple idea with the cabin. I mean, the whole painting is, as you see, composition wise and choice of colors, very beginner friendly, you know, not much to it, couple of trees here and there, so anybody can do this painting really. And the cabin, we're going to keep it very simple. I'm going to use some raw umber. And since it's a night scene, we're going to use some black and indicate some areas as darker than other areas, especially under the eaves. And we're going to bring some light inside this cabin later on. As you see, I'm just using a filbert brush. You could use a smaller brush. And just going to go ahead and block this area with some raw umber and a bit black for under the eaves. For the roof, I'm going to go ahead and same idea as the landscape. I'm going to drop in some of that ultramarine blue, and I'm switching to a liner brush. Now this side of the roof is in the shadows. Doesn't get a lot of that moonlight. And for this side, we're actually going to use some white, as it may catch some more of that moonlight. And maybe a bit here. Maybe some shadow color underneath that highlight. Pick up some orange, and we're gonna go ahead, indicate some light inside this cabin. Maybe a touch of white. And we're going to pick up some white and indicate some reflection of that light on the snow here. And some of that darker blue. And just blend it. Like so. With some white, a bit of black, we're gonna make a very light gray. I'm gonna come here and indicate a impression of smoke from the chimney. And just soften it. faded into the sky. I'm gonna pick up some ultramarine blue, some black, make some base color for these shrubs, overgrown bushes over here, and just tap. Just tap and blocking the area. Just blending it with the rest of the landscape. Some lighter blue. Now with some ultramarine blue, some of that white, same brush, we're gonna make a highlight color for these bushes, and I'm gonna come over here and just tap. Like so. And the key to painting these bushes is to preserve some of that dark, as you see over here. Don't block all the dark, and create layers of vegetation, whatever, here and there, just like so. Impression of some snow on these bushes. Maybe a big one over here. Don't create pattern, maybe one big one, one smaller one. Now I'm gonna introduce some white into my mix. In certain areas, especially here next to the light from the cabin, we're gonna get a super highlight over here. Capture some of that light from the cabin and soften it a bit, and some highlights up here, as it may catch the moonlight. Now we're going to move to the foreground, and for the foreground I'm going to use a larger brush, a flat brush, and basically it's the same idea as in this area. I'm going to drop in some dark tone, and then we're going to go ahead highlight it. I'm going to spare you with the underpainting of this area because it's going to be same as the other part. Alright, so drop the underpainting for this area. And I'm going to pick up some of that lighter blue. And I'm going to go ahead and with the same brush, drop in some highlights for this area. Now I can use other brushes as well. You can use your flat brush or use a mop brush. So I'm gonna make a lighter value of that blue. I'm just gonna come over here, and where I think the moonlight is hitting, apply some highlights. Basically it's like something like a glazing over it. Just keep your brush strokes this way, as the lay of the land is this way. I can switch to a mop brush. I'm gonna show you how you could do with a mop brush. And just go ahead and tap. Something like that. And this will create, different texture, as you see, as I'm tapping. It's up to you what kind of a texture you're looking for in your painting. Different brushes can create different texture, so either or will do. I guess I'm gonna continue with this brush and just tap. Now I don't want to bring so much light over here, maybe just this area, but I'm gonna leave the final highlights after I paint my post. Maybe a rail fence and a couple of posts. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some highlights, a bit lighter than there. To bring this a little bit forward and push that back. Some bumps here and there. Continuing tapping with that lighter color, lighter blue. And just like so, I'm done by just tapping like that. I'm done with the midtone. And this will be highlight for some areas, areas that we're not going to go highlight. This will be the final highlight. Some areas may get more light than others. No, it's up to you how much details, of course, you want to put into this. Go ahead with a flat brush, a small flat brush, pick up some black, maybe a touch of raw umber, and I'm gonna come over here and indicate few posts, maybe a rustic rail fence that once stood over here. something like that, maybe a smaller one over here. And maybe a runner right here, maybe another one. Something like that. Maybe a one that is tilted this way. I'm gonna go ahead, drop some indication of snow on these posts and runners. Maybe some sitting here and at the bottom, of course. Maybe some on top. Now I'm going to pick up some lighter ultramarine blue, which is mixed with white. Maybe add some white to it. And we're going to come here to this tree and this area, apply final highlight. Maybe this tree is getting some high, moonlight on these branches here and there. Maybe around here as well. Very lightly. And oftentimes stand back and take a look, see where you might need more highlights. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply some highlights as well over here. Just by tapping. Some indication of moonlight hitting this area. And gradually I'm gonna add more blue into that mix and just mix it in with the landscape and fade it away. With the liner brush, I'm gonna go ahead, fix some of these posts. Some blue and white. Just go ahead, indicate impression of snow and some of these posts. some straight white. Apply some highlights here and there. And I'm gonna pick up my round brush, some blue, some ultramarine blue, some white. We're gonna create a darker value than the highlighted area over here. I'm just gonna go apply some, maybe some shadows for these posts. I think I made a mess over here. Just go fix it. Very subtle. It's not a sunshine, so I don't want to overdo it. Very subtle shadow maybe. I'm gonna pick up some raw umber and a liner brush. I'm gonna go ahead and add a few details for this window over here, maybe something like that. And that's all we're gonna do for this painting. Not very complicated composition, but I believe it's effective and it's simple enough for all beginners and advanced beginner artists. If you're a more advanced artist, you can add stuff to this and make it a bit more interesting. But I'm gonna stop here and call it complete. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and I hope you come back for more videos. I see you next, and wish you happy painting. Bye.